Welcome back to Stu Structures. I am Mark Stewart, and I am all dressed up and I just have nowhere to go, so stay tuned. So, all dressed up and nowhere to go. That's how I feel. I don't have a model layout. Most of you have gathered that from what I've talked about in my videos. But, I used to belong to a historical society and now the Rappahannock Railroad Museum that's in Virginia. And through them, we used to play with a lot of trains. There's nobody near me here that I can just go over on a Friday or Saturday evening and run trains or do any of that kind of thing. So when I went through my divorce, I just brought all of my bins of all of my train stuff and stuck them in the barn. Well, I'm tired of trying to find things and not being able to find things and knowing that I have things and I can't get to them to use them to build my buildings and that type of thing. So, I finally came across a sunny day and a couple of hours of time. So I'm just going to go out and dig all my bins out of the barn and set them outside and sort stuff out. And I'm going to take you along the process and just show you some of the garbage I've got and some of the goodies I've got and treasures I've got. And, and we'll just go through this process and accomplish this so I can find things. So let's just jump into it. The first thing I do is just drag all these bins outside. I kind of looked through, popped the tops on them as I was dragging them out here. Even the labeling on the ends of most of them, the contents have changed since they were labeled, so I can't even go by the labels that are on these to find anything that's in them right now. And most of them are all mixed up. The one labeled boxcars is not just boxcars. So I laid out this big tarp here and I'm just going to start sorting stuff out. I do have this one piece of scenery. A coal mine sits on this and just never did ever use it. I have this one bin of scenery material which, the top can go on it. I don't have a whole lot of stuff to add to it or anything, so I can put it back away. And there's just I pop tops on bins and start laying stuff out. I've got bins of coal cars and hoppers, box cars, a couple of box cars, bunches of cabooses, work train stuff, circus train stuff, tank cars, flat cars, you name it. If there's a type of car out there, milk cars. I have tons of reefers. Here's a whole bin of circus trains. I've got all the passenger cars of these in the building, so I'm going to start working on those. But, this is mostly cabooses and work trains in here. I like a lot of the older kits, and the Intermountain kits are really, really nice caboose kits. That Wilmer on his channel, he made a comment one time. I was talking about some of the old stuff I had. So I got into one bin here that just has a lot of old Strombecker and various old wooden kits and stuff. And most of these are in pretty sad shape. I thought maybe someday I could get into them and work on them and make a wall display out of some of these. There's some really nice pieces here. A lot of them are missing parts and stuff, and I'm gonna have to scratch build some of them because there's just not much left of some of them. But there's a lot of neat kits and stuff in these. There's a whole passenger train for the B&O that has wooden tops and bottoms and cardboard sides. It's nice for what it is, and if you took your time and really put it together right, put some good wheel sets on them, they'd be nice cars. The William Galloway steam engine and the cars that were with it, this is missing a lot of parts, but the basic amount of it's there. There's this picture, and then there's another one coming up in a little bit that shows more of it. And some of it somebody had started to put together and then stopped. And here's a couple of neat little Strombecker wooden with cardboard sides as well. And just nice old antique car stuff. It's nothing I really want to put on my layout and run around, but it would make a nice display on the wall at some point in time. And a lot of this is older than I am. And here's a copy of the Varney original Aerotrain that came out. Most of you remember the one several years ago, but this was out a long time ago. There's this E8 A and B unit that, I started laying it out thinking I was going to work on it a long time ago and just never followed through. Here's more of the William Galloway train parts and a couple other odd pieces here. Just a lot of neat stuff, but it's going to require a whole lot of work to do anything with. I mean, here's a couple European carts. I don't really do anything and don't have anything European. And the one thing I was really wanting to get into was some of my passenger car equipment. Grafton had 28 passenger trains that went through it every day back in, my time period that I model. So I wanted to sort out because I want to run a lot of the consists the way they were. So, I had to find all my sleepers, all my observation cars, the dome cars, the diners, the coaches, the combinations, the postal cars. I just needed to get a good inventory of what I had so I can go back into documentation and find out what the consists actually had in them, to find out what I have and what I'm missing, and what I may need to just get rid of. There's a few RDCs and a couple doodle bugs in this pile of stuff here. But I really like passenger car train stuff. There's a C&O executive car here, and there's a lot of them without boxes, just wrapped up. I don't do a whole lot of the Athearn passenger equipment because it's just not even close to B&O, but I do have some baggage cars. Then I had a couple bins of just old buildings. This is one of the early ones that I scratch built. This stuff here is, oh my god, this is from the middle 70s probably, and I'm just going to take some of this stuff apart and use parts off of it to build other structures with. I have a couple of Sidem metal kits here that I'll never use, but I might build them and sell them, or just sell them as is. It's a neat little roundhouse. I have a couple of nice Campbell scale kits here that have been really abused, but I have most of the parts in a box, so these will be nice kits to come back and restore. And I have some stuff that's just kind of junk, some stuff from my model car racing days from when I was in high school, and miscellaneous kits. This is all scratch built stuff here that I used on modules years ago when I worked with the Rappahannock Area Museum. And who doesn't have a bunch of DPM kits sitting around? I never did build these. I started putting them together, but really never followed through because I didn't have anywhere to use them at the time. This is just a small auto repair scene that I took off a module that I had at one time that was really pretty good quality piece at one time. This is a Campbell scale Victorian house that I started that I need to go on and finish. Maybe I'll do that on an episode of my channel as well. But just a ton of stuff that I need to go through, and I finally found the things that I needed and have things to work with, so I'm glad I could get this out of the way.
Okay, so I am on the road this week, and didn't get my build done that I wanted to get out for my video this week. I did bring it with me, but just I've been so scattered with work since I got down here trying to catch up with people after 3 months of not having any work or being in their yards, that I just didn't have time to finish the build. I'm going to work on it while I'm here. I should be home before next Friday, so that video should be out on time. I did come across a couple more bins of stuff in the barn after I went through this video. I didn't really video every single bin of the stuff that I had. I just, I've got what I need to put a railroad together, except for these buildings I'm building and some track. Anyway, that'll come in time. Just trying to get everything to that point, so when I do get a building, it's wham bam thank you ma'am, and I don't have to buy a whole lot of stuff. So in any case, thank you for coming back and sharing this time with me. I do appreciate it. I'm sorry this video is a day late coming out, but there wasn't a whole lot I could do about it. So anyway, it's out here. I hope you enjoy looking around at some of my junk and sharing this time with me. And we'll be back next week with another build. So anyway, drag out some of your stuff and scratch build some buildings. That's what this is all about. You know, you learn by doing more than you're going to learn by watching me. I mean, the tips I share, I hopefully will help you do the things you want to do. But, you know, everybody does things his own way, and none of it's right or wrong. It's just what's comfortable and how it works for you. Some of the things I do may not work for you. They work for me. You know, well, some things don't work for me, and I have to do them over. But in any case, you know, drag out some trains, play around, and happy model railroading.